Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's AGM webinar. It's that time of year again already. AGM Platinum Award applications are open for the 2025 Platinum Awards. We're delighted to have a panel discussion today. The Platinum Award winning formula, insider tips for your submission, and Q&A. As always at the AGM, our mission is simple. It's to elevate retail, enhance relationships, and educate always. And our annual AGM Platinum Awards are truly the culmination of these three pillars. My name is Justine Gray, and I'm the Director of Membership and Education at the AGM. And I am joined by two past Platinum Award winners who will be joining me for this discussion to share their expertise. Ladies, would you be kind enough to introduce yourselves to our audience and let everyone know what awards you won in 2024?
Hi, my name's Kate Alter. I'm currently at Arrowwood Golf Course in Oceanside, California, where I'm the golf shop manager as well as the buyer. I was very humbled to be honored with the best of the best this past year at the PGA show, as well as now 3 years in a row winning the Platinum Award with the course here at Arrowwood.
Thank you, Kate.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Tracy Stearns, Director of Retail here at Congressional Country Club. I have been here now it'll be 8 years in August, and last year in 2025, we won the AGM Platinum Award as well as the Best of the Best. Since I've been here at the club, have gotten the AGM Platinum Award every year, so since 2016. I am honored to be here, especially being that we are in the middle of inventory, so any hour I can take away from that to talk to everyone and see everyone from AGM is a great day. So
Wonderful. Thank you both for being here and lending your time. So I know some of you are veteran winners, Platinum Award winners and applicants in our audience today, but I know we also have some new faces as well. So I wanted to share a bit more background information on the Platinum Awards before we proceed any further. So the AGM Platinum Awards recognize and honor the top 100 golf shops from around the world. Participating in the AGM Platinum Awards not only recognizes excellence, but also highlights your facility to the global golf community. Creative entries from public, private, resort, and off-course golf shops are all welcome. Facilities with multiple golf shops are also encouraged to submit separate entries for each shop, should they prefer independent evaluations for each location. The awards welcome submissions from both AGM members and non-members, and they are judged by an unbiased panel of industry experts. The top 100 golf shops will be celebrated, with the top 10 receiving the best of the best honor. So that's a brief overview of our awards. Taking a quick look at our agenda today here, we're going to start by going over the guide for your 2025 application, and I will walk you through that process. Then we will invite our panelists to share some of their insider tips and leave some time for questions. We have some folks who submitted questions in advance, and we'll be happy to have some live questions as well. And our goal here is to help everyone elevate their submissions to the next level for the 2025 awards. With that being said, I am going to move into the application guidelines section here. Let me get that ready for you all. All right. Here we have what you see when you log in to begin your award application. The platform we are using this year is called Judgify. So as you get started here, the first time you visit the website, you're going to click here to set up your account as a new user. So this is your initial registration information to get you started and set up your profile. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a little quick entry here. Use our AGM email for demonstrative purposes. And this is where you'll enter the name of your facility and your primary contact person. So if that would be yourself who's filling out the application, most likely your contact information goes here, your title, your email address, and this is where you select if you are a private, resort, public, or off-course location. And also, last question on this page is where you would add any of your key golf shop staff that you'd like to make a note of. So this is where you would maybe add your head golf professional's name, if you have an assistant buyer, assistant merchandiser, any of those folks that you want to highlight and include as part of your retail operation, you would do that here. So you would simply select how many individuals you would be adding. So let's say if I have one, here I would enter their name and their title as well. All right, so once you have your primary registration information entered, you're going to hit submit, and then you will move into the body of the application. All right. So here we have our submission details. So you're going to select Platinum Awards as the event name. That's the event that's running in this case. You'll enter your facility name as well. The first section of the application is focused on the golf shop statistics, so from 2023. So the goal here is to gather the quantitative data that helps us understand your scale of operation, what your financial performance is looking like, and any technological advancements at your facility. So really looking for the most accurate and comprehensive responses you can provide us with. So the first section is going to be very general information on your facility, including how many rounds of golf were played, how many golf shops operate at your facility, how many golf courses are available there, and what is the square footage of your selling space in your golf shop. The next section is going to focus on financial performance for your golf shop. This would include questions such as what were your gross merchandise sales in 2023? What were your sales per square foot? What were your sales per round? And for many of these questions, we have some formulas and helpful hints available to help you get started on these calculations. We have gross profit margin and your average transaction value. An additional note for your average transaction value to help you get started, in Jonas, the report that can help you with this number would be your CHIT average report. That would be under point of sale and under sales and revenue reports. So that's a report to help get you started. And in North Star, that would be under your daily business summary. So that would be under RPOS daily business summary. And then last question in this section is going to be explain how the changes in your customer buying behaviors or adjustments in your merchandising strategies have impacted your average transaction value in 2023. Our next section focuses on our sales trends and customer insights, asking, did your shop's total sales increase, decrease, or remain stable in 2023 compared to 2022. And we're looking for this change expressed in a %. And for you to elaborate on any key factors that influence this trend. We have a few more numbers here we're looking for. We're looking for your shrinkage rate in 2023 and your inventory turnover. And again, we have some helpful notes and tips here to help you get started. We also ask, what percentage of total sales were generated through e-commerce, and to outline your growth strategy for e-commerce. Last two very short answer questions here are technology and services. Does your facility provide a club fitting? And do you have a launch monitor at your facility? Next section here is the photos. This year we are asking for 5 unique photos for your entry, all to be from a different category from this list that is provided here. This list is very similar as past years. So we're looking for photos from displays from between January 1st, 2023 and August 31st, 2024. So please do not submit photos that have been used in previous years. Deductions will be applied for submissions that do not adhere to these requirements, including if you submit more than 5 or less than 5 photos. And we have a very generous maximum file size for all of these uploads, so you shouldn't have any trouble uploading high quality images. We also ask for your permission to use your photos in things like our promotional materials, our annual merchandising calendar, marketing campaigns, and any of our online content. So just asking for your permission to do so. We also ask if you would like your photos considered for the annual merchandising calendar. One quick distinction I also want to make that came up in last year's Platinum Awards. Those photos that you may submit separately throughout the year for the AGM merchandising calendar are not considered or part of your application for the Platinum Awards. We got that question from several folks last year. So just those 5 photos that you upload here in the application are considered and reviewed as part of your application process. We have a new section this year. This is going to be the short answer questions. So we're looking for responses under 300 words for each of these, with very concise, focused responses that really get into the specifics of each question. We're looking for you to illustrate the impact and innovations that you've experienced with these initiatives. They'll be evaluated by the judges on their clarity, relevance, innovation, and the measurable success. So your first question here is going to be on customer satisfaction and feedback. Describe an innovative strategy you introduced in the past year to enhance customer engagement, including specific examples. Explain how this strategy incorporates new technologies or unconventional approaches in golf retail. Provide measurable outcomes that demonstrate the success of this initiative and discuss how feedback has influenced the evolution of these strategies. And your second question here is quick win initiative. So here we're looking for you to identify a quick win in your shop that you implemented within the last year that delivered significant immediate benefits. We're looking for you to describe this initiative, its rapid execution in your golf shop, and the specific measurable outcomes that you achieved. And highlight how these benefits have contributed to your shop's overall performance. And then we have our final section of the application, which is the essays. So you're required to answer 3 essay questions. This year, there is not a choice between different topics. Everyone will answer the 3 same essay prompts. And this year, we're focusing on our 3 key pillars of merchandising, marketing, and management with them. So we're looking for very detailed and thorough explanations here and that quantifiable results and demonstrating the impacts that you've experienced in your golf shop. We recommend uploading supplementary materials or documents in regards to what you write about to help strengthen your responses. That might be things like photos or flyers, brochures, an Excel document that applies, and anything that is relevant, you're welcome to upload it. It is not required, but encouraged. In each essay, you have up to 6 opportunities to upload files. You certainly do not need to use all of them. For one essay, you might just have 1 photo to upload to submit. The next one, you might have 3. So it certainly may vary, but you do have up to 6 files you could upload. So taking a look at the 3 essays. So first we have the marketing excellence essay. Detail the integration and results of a successful marketing campaign, focusing on how promotional events, technology, social media, and sales initiatives have not only attracted but also retained customers or members. Quantify the impact on customer engagement and revenue growth. And then we also have some helpful hints here for what the judges will be basing their criteria on. They'll be judging based on your implementation, so the clarity of your strategy and how efficiently you executed it, the impact and results, so providing those quantifiable outcomes such as things that might include increases in customer traffic, engagement metrics, and revenue growth. And then the creativity and innovation. So we're looking for you to highlight any unique approaches that you've experienced in your campaigns, really looking for you to differentiate yourself from standard industry practices and going above and beyond. Our next essay question is the merchandising question. Describe how your golf shop has achieved excellence in merchandising. Discuss your innovative strategies involving visual displays, the creative use of props, and any recent renovations. Explain how these initiatives have directly enhanced the customer or member experience and increased sales, providing specific examples and results. So again, judges will be grading based on your implementation, the planning and execution of your merchandising strategies, what your impact and results are. So they'll be looking for specific examples of how the merchandising efforts have led to things like improved customer satisfaction, increased sales, greater revenue. And creativity and innovation. They're looking for your creativity in merchandising. So that very much lends itself to things like unique visual elements and props and what you're doing that's new and fresh visually. And our last essay question is management practices. Discuss the management practices you have implemented to enhance operational efficiency at your golf shop. Detail your approaches to things like staff training, governance, and mentoring, and demonstrate how these efforts have tangibly improved staff performance and customer satisfaction. The judges will be looking for what your approach was to implementing these practices, including any challenges you may have overcome, so how you implemented them, your impact and results, what those tangible benefits were for your staff performance and customer satisfaction, with emphasis on the measurable outcomes, as well as, again, your creativity and innovation. They're looking for anything unique or outstanding you may have done in things like training programs or staff development to stand out from typical industry standards. As well, at the bottom here, you have the opportunity to save your application as a draft and return as necessary, so you're welcome to work on it over the course of the coming weeks and months. And then when you are all finished, you simply submit your entry here and you are good to go. Any questions from our audience today on the actual application itself before we dive in to talk about some dates and deadlines to keep in mind? All right, we'll have some time for questions at the end as well. And feel free to type in the chat if you have a question as well. Okay, so jumping back into our presentation here. All right, here is a QR code to link directly to the application homepage. If you haven't already, feel free to bookmark it as you begin to work on your applications. I'm also going to drop a direct link in the chat as well for you all. Also on our AGM website, under the AGM Platinum Award drop-down menu on our homepage, there is a link to download a PDF guidelines as well. So if you want to print it out in advance and get an idea in drafting your essays, that is also available there as well. And with all that being said, all applications must be submitted on the online Judgify platform. We cannot accept entries in other formats at this time. A few important dates to keep in mind. Applications close on September 6th. The top 100 Platinum Award recipients will be notified on or after January 1st, 2025. All winners will be honored at the 2025 PGA Show in Orlando, Florida in January. And also at that presentation, the best of the best and Cashman Award winners will be announced and honored as well. So there will be more details to follow as we approach that January date. Also, I want to share a couple details and insights into the judging process as well while we're on this topic. So all judges are impartial and judge applications from facilities that are outside of their respective regions. Every entry is judged by 2 independent judges and an average score is taken. All judging is done blind and all sensitive information is hidden. For example, if I was a judge, I live in the state of Florida, I would not be assigned facilities in Florida to judge. Same thing, I used to work at Baltusrol Golf Club. I would not be assigned to judge Baltusrol Golf Club. We keep that all in mind with our judges and ensure that there's no conflicts of interest and everything is as fair and maintain the integrity and prestige of the Platinum Awards. So I also mentioned the Cashman Award for Visual Excellence. This award is named after Kevin and Artie Cashman, honoring them as pioneers in visual merchandising and golf retail. This award has been bestowed upon outstanding facilities annually since 2012. recognizing their excellence in visual merchandising. This tradition will continue with the Cashman Award winner being named for 2025. So that will be another award announcement at the 2025 PGA show to look forward to. All right, so I think we are ready to dive into some questions with our panelists here today. We have some that were submitted in advance, but we'd be happy to have audience questions as well. Feel free to type in the chat as we go along if you have any questions, and I will share them with the panelists. All right, so Catherine and Tracy, as we get started here, as folks are beginning to think about their applications and planning, do you all have a submission process that you all follow? Is this something you work on far in advance? Is it a team effort, or do you work on it as an independent contributor? Would love to have you both kind of share what your processes are for success. Catherine, want to start us out?
Sure, will do. Definitely, it's a team effort. On our end, it's a process that we go through. Our submission goes past multiple sets of eyes here at the facility, as high as our assistant general manager, down to our part-time associates that are working behind the counter. My thought process has always been the more eyes on it, the better. Sometimes one of the team members will read it and have suggestions, have something that I totally forgot about. So it's definitely a team effort. As far as the process goes, I've been pretty diligent about tracking numbers throughout the year on top of taking photos and whatnot. I found that when it comes to quantitating the initiatives, it's much easier if I'm able to go back and look in a spreadsheet. For example, every promotion that we do, I'll track what the success was and what the impact was in a dollar amount. And that way I have those numbers to back up my initiatives when it comes time, and I'm not having to scramble to find a ton of numbers. Yeah. And then as far as the photos, I can say the same thing. So for our photos, I've in the past actually probably chosen about 10, and then I'll show the team and say, okay, here's two that I'm thinking about. For example, the men's impact or men's display, and I'll have everybody kind of vote. And one, I think it's just a good idea to get more input, but two, I really think that the staff is motivated when they're part of the process, and it's not just me, it's the whole team that can contribute to the application. It's made winning the award that much sweeter that we can all celebrate it together.
Absolutely. I love the idea of having your team help you out with photo selection. They might spot something you don't see. They might see something out of place in the background that you're not noticing. And even if you're trying to narrow down your number of photos and can't decide which is best, having that extra set of eyes. I know some facilities as well even have their marketing or their communications team review the essays as another set of eyes and just have another glance at the written responses as well to make sure you're representing your facility the best you can. So that's wonderful. Tracy, how about you?
I think the process starts from the minute we all walk away from the PGA show, and it's all year round, and it's collecting maybe some of the ideas that you had from previous years that you can use again that following year. And it's constantly thinking about it. We're always thinking about it with every event that we do, with every trunk show we do, with anything retail related here in the golf shop. Our process is definitely a team effort. From all the guys in the shop and girls in the shop that work with the folding of the clothes to my retail merchandiser, we'll sit down and look at the questions for the year and go back and reflect on what we've done to see what most works for the answers for those questions. And it's a team effort from not only within the golf shop and our inner department here, it's throughout the entire club, from our marketing team that helps look through our submission, helps with the visualization of putting some of those things together, from our in-house photographer that comes down and helps us do photo shoots. We're always sitting there together and making sure that all the tags are tucked and that the folds are perfect and that our domes are lining up. And then it goes after we sit down and collaborate and figure out what our submissions are going to be and getting all that information. It's working with our golf shop concierge, who is very well versed and can write very well, with checking with how we wrote it. It's a huge team effort, and it's just keeping we keep an internal folder, a shared doc folder, where we put in all the information to keep at the end of the year or right before the submission, we can go back, reflect, and see what it is that would apply to whatever the questions are for the year.
Terrific. Thank you. How about for any helpful or useful tools or applications or software that you might use to help you in your submission process or the things you're submitting? Is there anything that you all have used that has been helpful?
For us, we've been submitting for a long time, so it's refreshing that we've gone to this more integrated system with this online approach. We were just talking about it before this started, where we were all hurriedly getting to the post office and marking, keeping our tracking number to make sure it got to the AGM office in time. But so we have gotten into a more digital approach to it. And for us, again, like I had mentioned, is really leaning on our marketing team with some of that visualization. When we put our submission together in Word format, we also put together the submission with photos embedded in it. So that's one thing that we would use. And then that's whatever program that she's using. So
I don't know that there's any specific programs that we use. I know Stacy mentioned the Google Doc, like a shared doc. I think that those are super helpful when it comes to the information, especially when you are sharing it with a team. We use here a lot Google Sheets when we're monitoring numbers. We have multiple team members that have access to it. But in regards to photos, we don't have a marketing team here. We are a little public course, but I will say I've gotten very used to using programs on my iPhone when I'm taking photos, as far as like filtering. I try not to filter too much because I do want the true, genuine colors to show in the photos, but even getting used to using like the portrait mode on the iPhone now, where the background gets blurred a little bit and it makes your table pop a bit more. So I'm still learning with technology as technology changes, just I guess a helpful hint rather for those that don't have a professional, maybe photographer for the iPhone at least.
Absolutely. I think iPhone photography is certainly usable for these. I think lots of folks use their iPhone, so wonderful. And another tool I know I'm seeing folks start to use is Canva, whether they're doing kind of a showing a flyer they may have built that they're using in one of their essays or any sort of, if it was a marketing material, but Canva is a really powerful tool with kind of endless options. So that's a fun, creative one to explore. Are there any strategies you recommend for ensuring that you incorporate those quantifiable results into your written essays?
Go ahead,
I
Tracy.
think, like Katie said, I think it's keeping those numbers throughout the year. And I think when we think about quantifying, it doesn't necessarily need to be a dollar amount, right? It could be units sold. It could be the percentage of sales from years past to where you are this year. I think, and I don't think necessarily that it needs to be in volume either. There's really meaningful data that you can get that's not necessarily that is it the largest number, but so seeing your progression from year to year on a certain thing if you're comparing that. So
Another thing I was going to mention is sometimes you don't even realize how successful something was. And then when you start looking at the numbers, that might give you a better idea. You might have in your mind, okay, I really loved maybe this promotion or this initiative that we did. And then you start analyzing the numbers and realize, wait a second, this other promotion that we did was actually maybe more successful, or you have more quantitative data on it. So you're able to speak to it more. I would say don't pigeonhole yourself into one thing. In regards to the initiatives, I know in the past I've had bullet points of maybe different initiatives and have talked it over with the team of which way we should go. Be open to maybe having different options and then narrowing it down from there based on your quantitative data that you're going to use.
Absolutely. And Tracy, thank you for mentioning it doesn't have to be dollar amount or what your exact sales were. You can quantify in so many other ways, whether it's your turnover or your margins, whatever it may be, your how many folks you had in your what your customers coming through the door were, even things like that. There's so many things you can quantify as long as you have that impact demonstrated and those true numbers to show it, whatever the topic that you're writing about may be. Are there any tips that you all would share around maintaining consistency and quality throughout the application. I know the application, when folks first look at it, they might be a little overwhelmed or feel like there's so many things to write about and ensure that they include well in their application. What are your tips for maintaining that high level of consistency for a really strong application start to finish? Catherine, you want to start us out?
Yeah, we go through several drafts. It's again, I start almost with bullet points of, okay, these are the areas that I think we should talk about, and then it just grows from there. Taking your time with it, again, having multiple people read it. I think consistency for me sometimes is I'm typically the one that will write the majority of it, but then that draft again gets handed over and edited. But to maintain like a consistent voice, I guess I will say I'm the one that writes the majority of it. That's not to say that somewhere else might be able to use different voices, but I do think it helps streamline to have one voice in particular, but again, adding in the other ideas. And yeah, like you said, having that consistent strength with each of your initiatives, you definitely want to have the sort of data where you can make use of those supportive files that we can upload now, which I think is huge. I love it. I loved it on the last year's application to justify and explain yourself, but consistently having those initiatives the same level. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with Katie on all that too. And just making sure you're doing all those bullet points with the quantifying and showing how things can be, measurable, whether it's by sales or by units. And as Katie mentioned, that opportunity for us to be able to add those visuals of maybe those different initiatives we've talked about, I think is a great way for all of you that are judging to see it on a visual side aspect rather than just by reading the verbiage that we've written in these essays. I think it helps because we all are visual people when as merchandisers, it helps create a better understanding of what it is you're trying to convey in your essay. So I love that that is an opportunity for us now, because in years past, that's where I was pulling in my marketing team to put the pictures within a document with my essay so that I could really show how impactful what I'm trying to say is with visualizations. I think that's just keeping that throughout each essay and answering each question with as much information as you possibly can to give that reader a real understanding of what it is that you've done, not only visually, but financially, and how that your answers there how you've gotten to where you are with those answers on that question.
Definitely. Do you both aim to include those supplementary documents for each of the essays? Would you consider that's your standard starting point, that you would always have a supplementary, at least one document for each essay?
For us, we do. There's so much to some of those events, like let's say it's a trunk show, or if it's some kind of event that there might be a flyer or something that has been distributed. I love to be able to include those. In past, we've used QR codes for some of the initiatives, including what that QR code looks like. So I think there's just a lot of different ways in those photo options that you're allowed to upload to help give the judges a little bit more of an understanding of what it is you're saying in your essay.
Yeah, agreed. To Tracy's point, it gives you that whole picture, right, of the situation that you're discussing. So you're able to, again, support the things that you've written out in a visual way. And I totally agree. I'm a completely visual person. I think most of us are as merchandisers. And so having that supportive addition, definitely, I think for every submission, we'll plan to have at least one supportive file added with it. And to your point too, Justine, Canva is so huge. It's either as low as free, depending on the account that you have, but there are ones that are upgraded for very small fees. We use it a lot at our facility. So easy to download and share as far as flyers go, or promotional material as well.
Definitely. Certainly lends itself to extra visuals and merchandising and being in golf shops. So that's great. What advice would you both give to your fellow AGM members? Maybe it's their first time submitting, maybe they're beginning their applications. What would be your advice?
I would say it's never too early to start. If you haven't already looked at the application, look at it and don't be intimidated by it. You can definitely tackle it in chunks. Like I said, even if you're just starting at a draft form of just bullet points, as soon as it comes out, I've pretty much got it downloaded and have started making mental notes on each of the initiatives. So definitely it gives you more time to, again, get that document in other people's hands to look at as well. Same thing with the photos, making sure that throughout the entire year you're taking photos. I always do this that I'm like, oh my gosh, we've gotten to the end and now I just don't have as many photos as I would like to have to pick through. So definitely give yourself enough that you have options, and you want to do that throughout the entire year.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. It's start preparing throughout the entire season. I think it's just keeping a little memory box of everything that when you're displaying, remembering that there's probably from that long list of categories for the pictures, whether it's a men's visual, an impact table, a window display, always constantly taking pictures. I sometimes feel like I'm the paparazzi with the camera and taking pictures all the time, but it's just it's so necessary, because you'll see when you sit down, and hopefully it's not on September 5th that you're sitting down and you're doing this and putting these displays quickly together, but rather keeping that throughout the year, because there's so many displays that you'll see that might be more impactful to submit than others. So not pigeonholing yourself into just that one picture of that hard good display. Continuously do it throughout the season. And it just really just being prepared, and just it's always on our mind here when we're either doing a display or creating an event, that we're thinking about, oh, that's AGM worthy, that's platinum worthy, and just making that mental note, and then we'll jump in that folder and make a note. Okay, that was a great event. Let's hope that they're going to ask us a question that's going to be related to that so we can talk about it.
Wonderful. Thank you. One piece of advice I would have would be to don't be afraid to look outside of golf for inspiration, whether that's visual merchandising, if it's something inspiring in mainstream retail or another industry. Don't be afraid to seek that inspiration, or if it's an idea that you have for a retail event or a promotion or anything of the sort that may come from mainstream retail, don't be afraid to think outside the box and try something new that maybe feels a little foreign to a golf shop at first, but it always is fun to try something new and can pay off. We also got a few questions in advance from attendees when they registered on some of the judging processes and procedures, so I'm going to go ahead and tackle some of those for you all. So we got a question: how would you like us to measure our achievements in merchandising, management, and marketing? So we've talked a bit about this, but really focusing on those quantifiable results that align with the judging criteria hints that are provided. So that would be your implementation, your impact, and your creativity. So any of those tangible benefits and measurable outcomes that you can show. Every facility is different and everyone has something unique to highlight. However, you can best share what makes you and your shop stand out and unique and amazing is the best way to go. All right, we also got another question here. Would we need to provide reports or letters of recommendation? Letters of recommendation are not necessary. However, reports could certainly fall under that supplementary document category in your essays. If it's a point of sale report that maybe backs something up that you write about in maybe your merchandising essay, you certainly could include that. It does not have to be a point of sale report. It could be a flyer, it could be pictures, it could be an Excel document you built to track something. It could be anything, but it could be a report. Another question we got here is, what is the committee looking for to be an AGM Platinum Award winner? So just to clarify a little bit on this, the judges are judging on a grading rubric. So they are scoring essays on a scale. So they're not handpicking out your whole application saying, oh, this is a Platinum Award winner, this we're choosing as a Platinum Award. They're given a scoring rubric. All of the sensitive information is hidden from them. They're just scoring on a rubric. So they really are looking for what those categories of excellence are with the quantifiable achievements. So again, they're looking for how you implemented what you're writing about, what was the success there, and the measurable impact. Anything that's creative or unique, it will stand out to them naturally. If it's something a little outside of the box, something that's newer to golf retail, that will certainly stand out. Another question we got here is, what do you think differentiates the top 10 best of the best from the rest of the entries? This is a really great question. So I think that the top 10 best of the best differentiate themselves through having 3 really exceptional and consistent essays with the results to back them up. So similar to what I talked to Tracy and Catherine about, how do they maintain that consistency? I think that's really important to think about. The best of the best really include their significant measurable impacts and implement them in creative ways. They have unique strategies. They think outside of the box that are setting new industry standards. They really demonstrate their clear approaches in their essays, and they might overcome challenges that come their way. They really do a good job combining their innovative practices with those tangible benefits, while a general commitment to excellence in every aspect of their operation, which they manage to infuse and really show in their application overall, is that overall commitment to excellence as merchandisers. And their essays are often outside the box, and they may have some new ideas that are outside of the box of golf retail that you're not seeing every day. Another question we got here, is there anything that you would not include that may disqualify a submission? I wouldn't say there's anything specific that you should not include, as long as you remain focused on maintaining a level of honesty and integrity in your responses that represent your facility and your golf shop as cohesively and holistically as you can. You won't run into any issues. Whatever you feel is best for you to represent your facility is welcome. All right, we'd be happy to welcome some questions from our audience here today.
I have Lexus here from Silverado Resort in Napa. If there's any specific examples from last year's Best of the Best, I went through the video posted on YouTube last year on what were those top 10 courses doing to name themselves Best of the Best. And I feel like all of us are here because we are trying to think outside the box. We are trying to make consistent essays and have those measurable impacts. But there's clearly that something is standing out for those people that are earning those best of the best top 10. Do you have any specific examples of why those were so stand out?
Maybe Catherine or Tracy could share maybe a little bit about what they wrote about last year and theirs to give some examples.
I'd be happy to share a couple. I'm trying to think back because I've been working on the new one. So our facility here, I think I mentioned we're a public facility. We are set back in a neighborhood, so we are somewhat hidden, and we do get confused with a private facility because we're tucked into a neighborhood here. That being said, we have a lot of locals, neighborhood people that will come hang out at the course that aren't necessarily golfers. They come and hang out. They have a beer at the bar. We have a really cool new driving range that has top tracer technology. So like your non-traditional golfers are now hanging out here, and we were trying to figure out a way to connect with those new customers that aren't necessarily coming in to buy golf balls per se. So something that we did was we started a mug club. It's the Arrowwood official drinking team. We have stainless steel beer mugs that we've started selling in the golf shop. They get a special discount in our restaurant whenever they bring it in and use it. They throw promotions depending on different beer vendors. If there's a new beer vendor every month or whatever, they do a special for them. It was so successful. And we do sell the mugs at a premium because they are this specialty club. We've now incorporated wine as well. So now we got the wine tumblers for those same people. And we've had to reorder those mugs numerous times now in the past 2 years. So it was just really cool to see something that was out of the box, was not a norm that maybe most golf courses could do. But for us, it was a great way to connect with our neighborhood customers that aren't traditional golfers. And we're still making some money.
Wonderful. I think that's also a great example of how you incorporated other areas of your facility and other departments. It wasn't specifically golf shop centric. You thought outside the box on how to reach those people who were maybe there dining and having that opportunity. So that's wonderful. Tracy, I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, your team wrote about your holiday gift guide. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about that topic you wrote about?
Yeah, that was for the social media portion of the questions. And being at Congressional, we don't really have a social media platform. So I think it's also a way of you finding another way to not take those questions so literally about social media. Okay, so we don't have a Facebook page, we don't have a Twitter follower, we don't have an Instagram. So we tried to figure out what can we do that makes it fall into that category of social media initiative. So the holiday gift guide was one of them. We in the fall we got all of our team from all three of our different athletic departments that were featured as models and put on them different items from the golf shop and put together it was an electronic version of a basically like a gift giving guide that you probably see out in the mainstream markets that you see on that Macy's might do, and created this little magazine, if you will, with our team featuring those items from the golf shop to create some interest. And it was great. We also I do a retail publication every month that goes out to our membership called The Thread. And here we feature some of the new items we have in the golf shop and our tennis shop and our fitness shops. Looked at that as being our social media initiative. And that's just, we wrote about there. So I think you ask about what makes everyone stand out and is different. I think it's just another way that you can fit yourself into the box of the question that they're asking you for those initiatives to make it work for your club.
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. I think that's can be a question for private facilities. If there might be things that they're limited on, whether it's social media or some of the marketing things, I think that gift guide is a perfect example of how you were able to think outside of the box and have something really cool. So I think that's great. And I think that's a good message overall for those essays. Don't feel boxed in. I think everyone can interpret a prompt a little differently. We'll have a different spin on it, which is the beauty of it, which is what the judges are looking for. They're looking for that variety. They're looking for the unique ideas that will stand out and get a higher score on that innovation and creativity. So do not feel limited. If there's something that you feel relates, absolutely write about it, absolutely include it. The more creative, the better. So do not feel boxed in by any of the written essays.
Thank you both for answering that.
Thank you, Alexis. We got a question in the chat here. Mark asked, do lower revenue shops get equal consideration if other areas are excellent? Yes. All of that sensitive information the judges do not see. So yes, everyone gets entirely equal consideration and opportunities through the judging process. Any more questions here from our audience?
Justine, can I tag on that question that Mark had?
Sure,
How you quantify your results is what's so important, in that if you're a smaller retail sales club, which a lot of our entries and a lot of the 10 best are very small clubs. So you're not going to quantify it by saying we added $500 to our sales. You want to quantify it by what percentage you grow your sales because of this promotion. So choose how you quantify your numbers, because the volume, if you're worried that you're not big enough volume to compete with all these big, huge clubs, then use a percent, because it's easier for us small clubs to have bigger percentage gains than the big guys can ever have.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tracy. All right. If we don't have any last questions from our audience, that about wraps it up for today. Please feel free to reach out to us should you have any questions through the application process or questions on anything we discussed today. We're always happy to help. Thank you all for joining us, our audience, and thank you to our panelists, Tracy and Catherine, for lending your time and your expertise today. Please don't hesitate to reach out again, and we look forward to seeing your unique and creative entries, as well as announcing our 2025 winners very soon. Thank you, everyone. Take care.